taking it easy at all. It's one thing to talk about it once the race begins.
Once again, that was a great pass by Stevie Reed. Went in, drifted up high, just like he's doing right there, and then cut right across the bottom of the racetrack, in under Steve Butler, and just took the racetrack away from him going into one.
We talk about how much smoother it is down low, but this is a very wide racetrack. We've seen a number of different grooves employed.
Well, there's a lot of different ways to run this racetrack. You can run in high. Really, the best way to run in is run in high and then kind of diamond down a little lower coming off. But when you run in high, you leave that bottom side open so that people can get in under you, which is exactly what's happening to guys going to the corner.
There's a look at number 99, Ralph Liguori. We just had a glimpse of him there off to the right. Ralph Liguori at the age of 66 is the eldest driver in competition here today. In fact, he won a USAC midget feature last year at the Indianapolis Speedrome to become the oldest driver ever to win a USAC competition. He was the first alternate when Danny Dryden had to scratch his car. Ralphie, the racer, for the first time in 20 years, is back in a Silver Crown car.
He loves this stuff. He's been wanting to do this for several years. Nobody give him a ride. He said, heck with you. I'll go buy my own race car. And I'll settle that. There's Randy Toles when that 61 car got in a little too hot, got way up high, got in under those guys, but went in way too hard, got way up out of the groove.
Well, it's warmer than we really had anticipated as the cloud cover starts to dissipate. Let's go trackside and check in with Dave Despain.
Precisely the issue I want to talk about, Gary, because that tire gamble that Johnny Parsons took was based in part on the fact that it was overcast yesterday and a forecast for a lot of cloud cover here today. It hasn't happened. As you can see, the sun is out brightly now. A Goodyear engineer just told me the track temperature goes up 20 degrees when the sun comes out. So Parsons' problem is a blistered right rear. It happened very early in the race. When he came down pit road, the problem was that he had just gotten the signal 1 lap to go. And as a result, he didn't want to give up track position. He skipped the pit stop, took a chance. He's been backing up ever since. The sun is the enemy for those who have chosen soft tires.
Well, Dave, as you waxed on the tire situation, we have a situation developing right now. We could have a change in the lead. There goes Mike Bliss. Mike Bliss challenges for the lead, and he takes it. Mike Bliss. Mike Bliss, what a great ride he's having.
I tell you what, Mike Bliss is a very smart race car driver. He got into second place. He's lost ground for a while because I think basically because his tire was so hot, he just cooled it. He ran a little slower than he needed to. He's really backed up for a few laps, almost got passed for second place. But once the tire got cooled down a little bit to where he could stand on it again, he went right back after Eric Gordon and took the lead rather easily.
Family reunion for the Bliss bunch because his wife is in here from Oregon. Mom and Dad came in from Milwaukee, Oregon. His uncle drove up from Chicago, so they're certainly enjoying what's transpiring right now as Mike Bliss, who started 15, a problem up in turn 3, a driver into the wall.
That's Ron Schumann.
That's Ron Schumann. The flying shoe has made contact and moved along the wall, so the yellow comes out on the 40th circuit here at the Milwaukee Mile. Ronnie Schumann is up against the fence. That brings out our second yellow of the afternoon. There's a look at the drive the Milwaukee Mile. You take a look at Tony Stewart from Rushville, Indiana. We talked about blistering right rear tires, but they're changing the left rear on that car. And there's a look at Ronnie Schumann, who has just tagged the wall up there in the third turn to bring out our second yellow of the afternoon. And here is Johnny Parsons in that much anticipated pit stop with a change to the right rear. Now, we know why he's changing the right rear, but why did Tony change the left rear?
Well, I think it was a stagger problem. You can see that dark mark there on the outside edge of that tire. That's where the tire is blistered. That's why he's changing the tire. I imagine he'll put a 50 on because both his teammates had just caught up with him before that yellow flag. Tony Stewart, on the other hand, he was having a handling problem. He had either too much or too little stagger, so they elected to come in, change the stagger so they had a chance to win the race. That was the reason for the left rear tire change.
Also in the pit area is Larry Dixon. He is having a left rear change. I think they also changed the right rear as well. So Larry, the 3-time sprint car champion, as we take a look at Johnny Parsons. Dixon, who had to go through the last chance races, I think he had an excellent chance to come from the back of the pack because he had a harder compound.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This tire is going to play a big, big part. But these yellows do help. They will help the guys that have on the softer compounds.
Well, of course, a lot of the Winston Cup teams, the IndyCar teams, really practice these pit stops. These guys don't practice pit stops. They don't normally make a pit stop like this in a 100-lap event. There you can see the emergency crew continuing to work on the M&L Plumbing car number 4. As we ride with Tony Stewart, there's a look at the top 5 after 41 laps. Bliss, Gordon, Reeves, Butler, and Tulsma. We're coming right back. Stay with us. A number of drivers have made pit stops to change tires, but once again out in front after starting 15th is Mike Bliss. Mike in number 69, the Del McClure car, and he is followed by the number 6 Valvoline of Eric.
Oh, look at that car. Look at Reeves. Something broke on that race car. The left rear jumped clear off of the ground as he went into the corner there. I thought he ran over a tire at first, and I thought I was seeing things, but he got on in there, and that thing just jumped clear off the ground. It must have been the Panhard bar, the Jacobs light, or something broke. Really, he did a good job not getting that thing in the fence.
Well, here comes a battle at the top. This is a battle for the lead, side by side down the front straightaway. Bliss in the black car, the white and blue Valvoline car is Eric Gordon. Gordon started from the pole with a new track record. He won this race 3 years ago. And starting back in 15th, Bliss did not qualify well, but boy, what a ride he's had this afternoon.
So yeah, both of those guys went in. They went high in the middle of the corner and then jerked us down underneath that yellow line coming off. Really, what they're doing when they do that is it makes the straightaway longer. You get more RPMs by riding high and then make a big, long straightaway down that either straightaway to get more RPMs and more speed.
Well, as we mentioned earlier in the telecast, Eric Gordon did make his Busch Grand National debut at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Kroger 200 last night. Enjoyed the ride. It was a good education, but got caught up in some oil dump from a flowing engine and actually hit the fence along with some other drivers who finished well back. But hopefully Shaq Ingram will take a liking to this youngster from Greenfield, Indiana, and give him a chance later on this season.
Well, he's out here to prove that the last win here at this racetrack was not a fluke, and Bliss is really putting it to him right now. I mean, Bliss coming from 15th is pretty hard. I ran here a few years ago, in 1990, as a matter of fact, Gary. We had a very bad push. I went third to last place and came to second. But it's a lot of work. It took me a lot more time than the few laps that it's taken.
I guess nothing. When I raced, I always started last.
Yeah.
Well, we got a car showing a lot of smoke down there.
Gary Irvin, who looks like he lost an engine. He's climbing out of the car. He's broken an oil line. It's hot in there. That's the reason.
Hot in that cockpit, and he's trying to get her slowed down, get it to safety, and the yellow flag is being displayed. He's trying desperately to climb out, but yet keep that car away from anybody else.
See, when that oil breaks, or when the engine breaks, it spews hot oil on the inside of the car, and usually that oil goes right through the material on your uniform. You know, hot liquid will go through that. Fire won't. And that's the reason he was trying to get out of there, I'm sure. It doesn't look like it was on fire, but that hot liquid in there was really making things warm inside that cockpit.
You've raced against Gary over a lot of seasons, and he told us yesterday, hey, I don't have that burning desire I had before, but as long as it's still fun, I like to run these cars on the pavement.
Look at this.
That's in turn 1.
Well, that might be that's where he blew the engine. I don't know what the heck it was. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but anyway, Gary Irvin has been around a long time.
We're about to complete lap 52 as we go back to green. The tussle continues at the head of the pack with Mike Bliss leading the way. Now, once again, he's won at Milwaukee. He's won in Phoenix this year. He also won at Indianapolis Raceway Park. The 2 pavement races that have been contested in this series have been won by Mike Bliss. And he's out in front right now as we pull up behind Jim Hettinger, who is making his initial drive in a Silver Crown car there in the 151. That's a good-looking race car as we ride along now with Tony Stewart.
That's Johnny Parsons in that yellow car, clear on the inside, sliding sideways up there. He and Stewart both had to go to the back of the pack because of their pit stop, and both trying to work back towards the front now.
Stewart's had a pretty good payday already this weekend because he won a $7,000 feature a couple of nights ago at Hales Corners here in Wisconsin.
The kid's been racing everything, everywhere, and doing a pretty good job at all of them. But it's going to be tough for him coming from the back in this race.
Bliss widens the gap just a little bit, but then it closes in somewhat in the corner. What does this tell you?
Well, it just tells me the leader is usually the guy, I mean, he doesn't have anything to judge by. So going into the corner, he's going to be a little more conservative. That guy in second place can run in a little harder, stand on the brakes a little harder, just to try to make up a little ground. So Bliss is running his race, and Eric Gordon's doing everything he can to catch him. But that's Tolsma in that number back there in that white car in 4th position. Randy Tolsma, he's come up from pretty far back in the field, and he seems to be running awfully well right now.
Well, you know, we saw Randy win that midget race in that great tussle, perhaps one of the best battles ever in a contest with Bliss earlier this year on the Thunder, and he was awarded with a brand new Beast race car. It's a brand new car, first outing for it, first time for this youngster in the Silver Crown car, and he's up to 4th position.
That's a big break for that young man. He did a great job. He earned every bit of that break because of the job he did at Raceway Park, and it looks like he's making it pay off for him here today.
Well, once again, we've been talking a lot about tires. Dave, what's the latest in the pit area?
Jimmy Garner of Goodyear reports that they have no tire problem at this point. Obviously, everybody is concerned about it. Parsons' problem was really a tire selection problem. They went with the softer compound. That's what got them in trouble. If you've got a soft compound, it's not going to make any difference what brand you're on. But the Goodyear guys say they're in good shape with the front-running car.
Yeah, I think that's a key we have to underscore. It's not that the tires normally would blister, but they chose a softer compound that can't take the abuse.
Well, you know, everybody has a different concept. If you put on a harder tire, sometimes they will not stick as well, and they'll slide around and blister. Whereas you put on a softer tire, it might just plain wear out, or it could also blister because of the abuse. So it's really a guessing game.
We thought maybe this would be a track and a race that would bode well with the V6s. There's a pair of V6s right there together with Keeker in 26, Hewitt in 27. Keeker has the V6 Chevy, and Hewitt has the V6 Ford. There's a look at the drivers already out of the race. A high attrition rate so far in this event.
Yes, it is a high attrition race. I think both those guys in the V6s are running pretty much according to plan. I think Hewitt has very, very limited pavement experience. He just wanted to run as fast as he could, keep that thing in the hunt, which he is right now. That's Gary Heber in that 66 car. He's kind of snuck up on us, and he's up into, what, 5th position there. We hadn't talked too much about him, but he's right in the hunt for this battle.
Well, Gary Heber right now is 5th in the point standings, runs 5th in the race, a past winner of the prestigious Hoosier 100 at the Indiana State Fairgrounds, which will be coming up, what, in September. So there's a look at Heber right now, and right behind him is Keeker, and right behind Keeker is Hewitt. And as you talk about Hewitt not having a lot of pavement experience, I think right now he's just following his teammate.
Well, I think he's trying to find it. He gave him a little test there a while ago. He got in under him, trying to see if maybe he can make the pass, but he couldn't quite pull it off, so he just pulled right back behind him. He's going to try to follow him through the pack, and when they get up front, then he'll start testing it a little bit. That Ford V6 in Jack Hewitt's car, the 27 car, seems to be pretty strong. And I know Glenn Knight, who built that engine, is very, very happy with it.
Well, Keeker right now is 6th. Hewitt is 7th. There's a look at the front of the pack as Dave Bliss now beginning to negotiate his way through traffic on the high side. And he has, what, about a 10-12 car length advantage over Eric Gordon, who rides second in the Valvoline number 6 down the backstretch. Couple of slower cars to the inside. 60 laps now complete, 40 laps to go. Once again, your leader out of Milwaukee, Oregon is Mike Bliss. As we are back live at the Milwaukee Mile, a change in position. Gary Heber just took 4th in the 66 car as he went around the inside of Butler. Butler in the red number 1 drops back to 5th, and there in 6th position is number 26, Keeker. Keeker tries the high side. This could be a change of position as Keeker goes to 5th, and right behind his teammate has a look, and still on the high side is Hewitt.
That was a nice move by Jimmy Keeker. Butler dropped back down under Gary Heber in that 66 car, trying to get under him going into the corner. When he did that, he killed a little of his momentum. Keeker saw that, went right around him on the outside. Nice job. I'm
beginning to wonder what's wrong with the Kenny Jarrett Farms number 1, because in one lap, Steve Butler, your defending Silver Crown titleist, just dropped 4 positions.
What about Jack Hewitt? He just passed 2 guys, including his teammate, all in one corner. Like all of a sudden, he turned on the turbocharger. That baby just blew right on by him.
Well, now Hewitt goes to 4th. His teammate goes to 5th. Well, wait a minute. They're side by side. That is Keeker on the inside. He makes it around. So now the V6 Chevy gets around that big 8 of Heber.
You know, that was a nice move by both those guys, but I couldn't believe Hewitt just went to the inside. He went third to the yellow. Whoa, there you go. Butler's all sideways right there trying to get under Heber. And that's the chance you take when you pinch that car trying to get off the corner and get under somebody.
Yeah, but look at the gap that these 2 V6s have pulled away to.
Yeah, once they got out in front, they just really took off with these guys.
That's a look at 6th and 7th, the battle for 6th position, and Butler gets him. Butler gets back to 6th position. Heber drops to 7th, and he sets sail now for...
Okay, Gary, we're getting to about 66 laps here. We're getting to the point where if there is going to be a tire problem, this is when it's going to start to show up. The tires are going to start to get worn, or they're going to start to get real hot. They're going to start to get blistered. And I think that's some of the things that you're seeing happening right now. I think maybe Heber climbed up through the pack so fast that he might have a problem with his tire right now.
Now 6 68 laps. 67 laps complete. They're working on lap 68, but teammates are running nose to tail. A couple of good-looking Mayflower DuPont cars here.
Those two cars are on Hoosier tires. The first three cars all have Goodyear tires on. So this is kind of a battle of the tires here to see who's going to come out on top. The two V6s that we're looking at, both on Hoosiers. The other three guys up front all have Goodyears on.
Yeah, you wonder if these guys have any team orders here. Doesn't look that way.